What is up guys, name's Dre and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. So Kazuha KAEDEHARA is already out on Asia and I already did some test runs, just forgot to record those, so we want to do that in that video again. For Europe and for America, you guys still have to wait a couple more hours until he officially releases on your server. I do not know if there will be follow-up content to this video for Kazuha because I do not know if I'm going to pull him. So I will definitely put in some multis and I will summon with my boy Monty, and he definitely wants to go for Kazuha. He's the only one of my friends that wants to summon for him. I mainly want to summon on that banner to get some constellations for Bennett and Rosaria. So I will just dip in 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 multis, and if he comes early, then definitely I will make content to Kazuha. Otherwise, I will skip Kazuha as well as the rest of the banner. So now let's take a quick look at the Kazuha that they give us in the test run. Nothing too crazy, not too high attack, but over 700 elemental mastery, so they give him pretty high elemental mastery. Not too much crit rate, not too much crit damage. I think it is very realistic to build that Kazuha besides the sword that gives 180 elemental mastery. We have a full Verdescent Vanilla set, Constellation 0 of course, and Hollis Helen's O level 8. So I think nothing too crazy for his normal attacks. Don't really want to go over this. We have a double hit combo at 3 and a triple hit combo at 5. But usually you do not really auto attack with Kazuha, what I assume. Plunging attack is important because you are going to use that along with his E ability Chihayaburu. Also very self-explanatory. You just have to press E, the hold E, similar like Venti, so you can use it mid-air, and this one jumps a little bit higher, increases the AoE area and of course the damage numbers, so we have 100% more damage on the hold E and 3 seconds more cooldown. Then for his elemental burst, also I think kind of self-explanatory. You have that AoE area. In that AoE area, the big difference is that the enemy still can walk out. So they do take damage during that AoE or during the area of Autumn Whirlwind, or however you want to call it. But they still can move out of that area. So for his other passive talents, so if his E ability comes in contact with any elemental, with any of these elements, the plunging attack mid Aranzan is used before the effect expires, will deal an additional 200% attack of the absorbed elemental type as damage. This will be considered plunging attack damage. Yo, I think this is really good. So he has an option to deal way more damage. His other ability is up and triggering a swirl reaction, which he actually will always do. He will grant teammates a 0.04% elemental damage bonus to their corresponding element for every point of elemental mastery he has for 8 seconds. So you really want to build up as much as possible on elemental mastery so you can increase that one. But I think that Kazuha could be very fun. You really have to pay attention on which element you come in contact, so you will boost that character. So let's say you come in contact with a fire slime, so you will boost fire elemental damage for your characters. So you will boost damage for characters like Klee, Yanfei, Luke, Bennett, and the upcoming character Yoimiya. Bonuses for the different elements obtained through this method can coexist. So that basically means that you can trigger this passive for multiple elements. So let's say you put out a swirl reaction for fire, so your fire characters will be boosted, and just a couple seconds afterwards you put a swirl reaction which comes in contact with water, so you have both elements at the same time. Fire, so your fire characters will get the elemental boost, as well as your water characters because you came in hydro contact, so Child, Mona, those characters will also get the boost. So that is meant by that passive. This one I think is also very useful, decreases sprinting stamina consumption for your own party members by 20%. Very good for exploration. So else, just hop into the test run. I think there's not really anything spectacular about Kazuha in my opinion, so let's just walk the auto attack. So he has some very clean and fast auto attacks. So if you want to build him DPS, you can, but I think he won't deal a lot of auto attack damage. So you just can see his auto attack damage was level 8, and he has a 5-star weapon, and still though, he doesn't do that much. His mid-air, and then you want to do it into a plunging attack. So you mainly always want to use plunging attack after E. It doesn't matter if you use press E or hold E. So because it always will deal, or it will always, basically always trigger this part of his passive. So of course, if you fight against neutral enemies like Hilichurls, it won't do in the open world. But if you use that in like Abyss or any other elemental character or character that uses elemental damage, you will always trigger that passive while using a plunge attack. So yeah, you literally always want to use that. Then to increase the AoE, you can use the hold E. So in my personal opinion, I wouldn't really use the hold E over the normal E for 3 seconds of 100%. So I don't know if it is worth, I'm not too sure, but I assume that it is not worth to really use that. It does deal quite more damage. Maybe if you want to like last hit your opponents, then I think that this is an option. So let's take a look at the elemental burst. So you can see like that area, the first element that we came in contact with was fire, so it transformed into fire, and now you can see the AoE area. And still though, in that area we will do quite a lot of damage, but the opponents, they still can walk out of this area. So let me use the hold into a plunge attack. So as you can see, the plunge attack will always deal anemo damage, as well as the element that comes in contact with, which was electro. Now let's use elemental burst. Maybe we can see, maybe some of those can walk out. So as you can see, the Hilichurls, they still can walk out, but they still also take a lot of damage. So you can see quite different damage numbers from different colors, because there are 3 different elements. We have cryo, pyro, and electro. Let's use that. So the more elements are in his area, the more damage he basically will deal, because you can swirl multiple of these elements. Also, Elemental Mastery got the buff during this patch. Kazuha basically will always deal quite a lot of damage. So I think his role is, or the character in general, is quite balanced. He's not too broken in my personal opinion, but he's also not weak. He's a very good support, I guess. But what I think is that, I don't know, if he takes too much screen time. So usually I would do like Elemental Burst into his E, plunge attack, and then I would swap into my main DPS. So because then you have the swirl of the Elemental Burst, and you can like attack with your main DPS. So yeah, I think his combo is quite easy to understand. So that's at least what I assume. Press E into charged into Elemental Burst, and then I would swap out if you do not have enough energy recharge. But else, I will always start like with Elemental Burst into E plunge attack and swap Kazuha out, or I will do like E into plunge attack into a Elemental Burst. So I would basically do it like this. Swap into my main DPS and let him do the rest. So it's basically how I would do it with Venti or Sucrose. So if you want to do it with Sucrose, you always use E until you have enough for your Elemental Burst, put in your Elemental Burst. So I think you use them quite the same as Venti. The only difference is that Sucrose and Venti, they stand outside the combat, while Kazuha has to stand inside the enemies, you know? So usually if I would use Sucrose, I would stand here, use E. And then I would group like these enemies. But for Kazuha, I would like do something like this. Elemental Burst into this one, so you get some elemental particles back. Swap into your main DPS, and like that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it what I wanted to say for Kazuha. So definitely look forward for my summons. Unfortunately, today I cannot stream because I have a lot of university tasks to do, especially this week. But if I'm going to pull Kazuha early, so you're going to see it, definitely there will be a summon video with my boy Monty, and if I will pull Kazuha, then that will also be content to him. If I'm not going to pull Kazuha, then of course I will still make content, of course, for other characters, but then Kazuha won't be a thing on the channel. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe would help me out a lot. And I see you guys next time. Bye.